When a family from Indiana created an Instagram account for their bunny, few could have imagined its popularity would lead to writing a children's book, or that the book, Marlon Bundo's A Day in the Life of the Vice President, would cause a cultural stir. But that's exactly what happened from the collaboration of the Vice President's wife, Karen Pence, and daughter, Charlotte. Judy Woodruff recently sat down with them and began by asking Charlotte about how they got started.
It really all started with Marlon. When we moved to DC, we got an Instagram page for him after he got kind of popular in the press because they kind of liked that we had a bunny, and we wanted to do a children's book. And so I thought, it would be really cool to have my mom illustrate it, but also for it to be an educational book that teaches kids and parents and educators about the role of the vice president.
Is that how you envision this, Mrs. Pence?
Yeah, that's how it started. I mean, I always knew Charlotte would be an author because, she's been a storyteller since she could talk. And so to be able to collaborate on her very first published book was really a privilege.
So this was all really about building up your husband's profile, right? Teaching people about the role of the vice president.
About the role, well, and actually we
the
talk
role
about
of a vice president.
Yeah, we actually talk about other vice presidents too. We have a little bit in there about the Bidens. And
the book is about Marlon following your father to the White House and following him throughout his day. How often does Marlon actually do that?
Well, it's a little bit fictionalized. He hasn't actually been to a couple of the places, but he has been to the Eisenhower Executive Office building, where Marlon goes with my dad in the book. So he has been there for an event with military families, but he hasn't been all over the White House yet.
As I understand it, he's your bunny, is that
Yes.
right? But you're in California, so you've left him in the custody of your parents, is that
Yes. Yeah, he lived with me at college for 4 years. And then when I moved, we had him stay in DC since he's the BOTUS, so he has official duties in DC.
Now, as both of you know, there's already another book out there by the comedian John Oliver about another bunny named Marlon Bundo, but this bunny has a life of his own. Let's hear just a clip of John Oliver.
Our story is about Marlon Bundo falling in love with another boy rabbit because our Marlon Bundo is gay.
How did you take John Oliver essentially trolling your father, the vice president, for his views on gay rights?
I really saw it as, it's now we have 2 bunny books that are giving money to charities. I'm really proud of the book that we put out. I think that it's educational, it's fun, it's supposed to be fun, it's supposed to be for everybody. And our books are also giving a portion of the proceeds to charities.
Do you share your dad's views on that issue?
I'm not going to talk about my political views, but I think that we have animated debates in our house and we all have our own opinions, but I think that it's important to kind of come together, and I think that our book really brings people together.
And Mrs. Pence, you have said you want to direct the proceeds of the book to art therapy, which is something you've spent a lot of time doing. Tell us about that.
Well, I chose 2 organizations where I'm on the board. Tracy's Kids is for children with cancer, and they're the ones who first exposed me to what art therapy is in 2006. And the other one is Riley Children's Hospital in Indianapolis, and they have an art therapy program there as well.
And Charlotte, you directed the proceeds to human trafficking. Why did you choose that area?
A lot of people don't necessarily realize it's also a big problem in the United States. So A21 does a lot of awesome work to reach out to those people.
And Mrs. Pence, I know one of the other causes you have been interested in has to do with military families. Of course, your own son, Charlotte's brother, Michael, is in the Marines. And I think you said in an interview, you said from observing his wife, Sarah, your daughter-in-law, you said you've learned more about what military families are going through. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, we're getting ready. My office is doing a lot of research right now, working with some other agencies to see how we can help military spouses and families. It's a difficult life, and so we're looking to see if there are things that we can bring awareness to that maybe can help their plight a little bit.
Your son is an active Marine right now at a time when the United States is involved in figuring out its role in a number of conflicts around the world. How does that affect your life?
It's interesting. When Michael went into the Marines, it just seemed the right thing to me. This is where he's supposed to be. I see these members of the military, and it seems like it's a calling, and he absolutely loves being a Marine.
I do want to come back to the book because, as we said, it describes a typical day in the life of the bunny of the United States, BOTUS. And yet, we're in the middle of a presidency that's anything but typical. It's not even comparable to the time you were in Washington when your husband was serving in Congress, is it?
When you're in politics, this is part of it. I mean, you know, Charlotte and I were joking earlier. We said, well, you know, this really is a day in the life of the vice president. You know, you always have conflicts when you go back in history. So I think that's part of it. We like to say that's what freedom looks like, when people have a chance to disagree and you get both sides talking. So I think that's a good thing about a democracy.
Charlotte, do you see this experience of being vice president and second lady of the United States changing your parents in some way? What do you see about them?
For us, it's always been, you know, this is just kind of my dad's job or my mom's role. You know, it's not, I mean, we're the same as we were before and we'll be the same after. We're a very close, tight-knit family. So I think that we've all gotten a lot closer through this.
Mrs. Karen Pence, Second Lady of the United States, Charlotte Pence, author of the book, Marlon Bundo's A Day in the Life of the Vice President. Thank you very much for coming in. We
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Judy.